Welcome back to Moms for Justice, everybody. I am here with you in a couple minutes now. We are going to have the rest of the Brendan Banfield trial. We have probably a couple more minutes left. Thanks for joining me today. I hear a weird sound. Hold on a second. Maybe that's better. Can you guys hear me okay? Please comment below if you can hear me. Am I nice and loud? Anyway, we are just a couple minutes away from resuming the trial. Brendan Banfield was on the stand for direct and then cross, and I fully expect it to be a redirect when we get back. As you all know, he began an extramarital relationship with his nanny, the AuPAir, Juliana Perez Magalhaes, I believe it's pronounced. Hey, Kate. Prosecutors say Banfield expressed a desire to get rid of his wife, and Christine Banfield is his wife. It's a crazy story. Let's see if I have any time to recap some more. I'm looking here to see. Looks like they're going to be going live in a couple minutes. So, hello. How are you guys? Thanks for joining. So yeah, him and the nanny were having this affair. They went on to a fetish website to hire somebody pretending that they were his wife, Christine, and have this guy come to the house under the guise that she wanted to have a fetish experience of some sort of fake rape. It's really sick and it's really disturbing, but it was really planned by the husband, Brendan. Okay, and the AuPAir, who were having this crazy affair. So I fully expect them to go live in a couple minutes. So far, I don't think his testimony has stood up very well. The prosecution is doing an amazing job. I was actually quite surprised by how well they were doing. She is a Spitfire. And at first I was like, well, we need Juan Martinez for this kind of case. And I did not think that this woman who came forward to do the cross was going to do a good job, but she actually is doing a really good job. He is struggling to keep up. He is making up excuses. He is even getting angry at times. So I think I'm watching. Bear with me. How are you guys doing? Okay, here we go, guys. Here we go.
Yours first. Yours is faster.
Everybody have microphones, please. Thank you.
Yes, please.
All right.
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Judge, there was an exhibit in Commonwealth's Exhibit 159,
159?
which was the firearm sale purchase, and there was some information that.
159, I have firearm
Comment below where
transaction
you're
record.
from.
Yes, and there were social security numbers and other identifiers on there, and I'm
All right,
just
so you
asking that they
want to
be.
redact the social security numbers?
That's fine, and I can provide the court with a redacted copy to
We'll
replace.
provide it with a redacted copy, okay?
Okay, awesome. 159,
159,
thank you.
we'll get that. All right, that's all you have, Mr. Carroll?
That's all I have.
All right,
I have information. Judge, during the break, a gentleman approached one of our detectives in front of two jurors and asked if it was too late to testify. The detective instructed him at that moment to stop speaking, and they walked away, and that was the extent of
Okay.
it. But
Oh,
that
wow.
would have been overheard by two of the jurors.
all right.
May we approach, Judge?
Okay, sure.
Well, this is interesting. Somebody talked about wanting to testify in front of the jury, and that's what they're talking about right now. Very interesting. Now you watch. Are they going to try to say that they want a mistrial because of this? My gosh. I'm praying this is not a mistrial, guys.
All right, are we ready for the jury then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Maybe they can just excuse those jurors. They got backups, right? Comment below where you guys are from. Give me a thumbs up on this video too, please. This should be interesting, guys. This guy is a snake. Bad news. And we've heard this story before. The babysitter, the AuPAir, the housekeeper, the middle-aged man has an affair. Just... could have just been jury tampering on purpose. What if the defense hired somebody to create that disturbance with the jury?
All right. Redirect.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Banfield, you were asked on cross-examination as to your decisions relating to calling 911. At what point did you feel like 911 was necessary?
I guess once I was in the room, I knew that 911 was going to be necessary.
And at the time that you realized that, were you capable of calling 911?
No, my hands were on my firearm.
Okay, and so when you're saying in the room, you'd already confronted Joe Ryan?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And was there any other time that you were in a position to be able to call 911?
When I was rendering aid, I had instructed Juliana to call 911. I believe that was the best course of action at the time.
But you weren't able to call 911 yourself?
Objection leading.
Sustained to leading.
What prevented you from calling 911 yourself?
I was rendering aid to Christine.
Now, Ms. Sands asked you if there was any information out there that related to fetish-type behavior that you knew of Christine being involved in. And can you elaborate on your answer?
Back in New York, I know that Christine had an affair where she was involved in a BDSM relationship for a month or two.
Here we go.
And how did you know to talk to her about that?
Dishonoring her.
She was in our bedroom in New York. I observed her with bruises, several of them on her body that I was unaware that she had previously.
And did you ask her about that?
Yes,
Did you have a discussion with her about that?
yes. Originally, she denied it and said.
Objection hearsay.
You
Sustained.
can't say what she said,
Okay,
but you confronted her about it?
yes.
Okay, and what, if anything, did you suggest she do after being told?
I suggested that we go back to therapy. At that point, I questioned her enjoyment of it. It was pretty emotional conversation.
And in fact, were those the things that you indicated that you were unwilling to do? with her?
Objection leading.
What, if any, of those things, why? Were you aware of the things that were related to this New York incident?
Yes, she had. Christine was interested in, I guess, sexual violence. She was a sexual assault nurse examiner. She did many examinations of both men and women that were in people that were injured, people that had a lot of people that were choked, people that were raped, some pretty graphic things. She used to bring some of her documents home So I was aware that she seemed to look at them relatively often.
Okay, and so, and I'm sorry, can you tell me what year was this?
She was a sexual assault nurse examiner. This is an estimate, I guess, from like 2012 to 2017, 2018.
And the incident that you're talking about with regard to her experience, when was that?
I would estimate to 2014.
And is it your testimony that that's when treatment took place?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
When did treatment take place in relation to that date?
I believe that we went to counseling in 2013 and again in 2014.
And as far as you can tell, were there ever any other instances where she was involved in something like that?
No proof.
She had indicated that there was a,
Objection hearsay.
You can't tell what she said.
They've got no proof of this.
I'm aware that there was another brief relationship where she was stalked for a few weeks.
And were there, how were you alerted to that?
She was frightened of that person.
Were there any-
Objection non-responsive.
You overruled this one. Next question.
Were there any injuries related to her, relating to that situation?
No, I'm not aware that she was injured in that situation.
Okay, and the previous one that you talked about, were there injuries?
There was significant bruising to her legs, to her buttocks, to her chest.
Did you notice any physical changes in the way she carried herself as a result of that?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
What, if any, other physical clues were there that this was going on?
She had difficulty walking. She was walking very stiffly.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
There was testimony that you testified that you broke up with Juliana prior to this incident, correct?
That she broke up with me?
I'm sorry, there was a breakup.
Yes.
And
Break up. You're married.
do you have any idea when that was in relation to February 24th?
I guess it was kind of complicated. She was very upset with me when Christine and I went on a vacation. We went on a cruise in November. I would say that started a lot of Juliana's anxiety and anger with me. On Christmas, she went to a hotel because she did not want to view Christmas with me and my family. She didn't want to see me, Christine, and Valerie together. In February, when Ms. Sands had brought up the messages, she had indicated that she was going back on dating apps, and that was going to be the end.
Okay, and you were trying to talk to her, is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. And so at the time that this happened, what was the status of the affair? And I'm talking about February 24th, 2003, at that time.
We were not in a relationship at that point. It wasn't that long that the relationship had stopped, but Juliana at that point had made it clear that we weren't going to be together any longer.
And so what, if anything, did you When you made the decision to shoot Joe Ryan, did you feel like Christine?
Objection leading.
Sustained?
What did you think when
I
you
love
made
her.
the decision to shoot Joe Ryan?
That he was an imminent danger, that he was a threat to he was a threat to Christine, and that was the best way to stop his actions.
Not believable.
I don't have
Sorry.
any further questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Recross.
Give this to your attorney.
No?
Your next.
Thank you.
I don't know why she didn't recross that.
Wait, we already started this. I have notes.
You know, the complete smearing of this woman. She has family that are watching. They're in the courtroom. There is nothing to prove any of this. My doggy hears something at the door. I've seen Georgia do it. You know, if we have a chance, we'll watch that body cam again, because let me tell you, it is really telling, that body cam footage.
He didn't respond, but he responded at lunch saying he'd be available.
What's he writing? He's writing, "I'm totally screwed." I really thought that they would question him longer than this. Hey, Rosie, did you have a nice lunch? Let's give it up for our moderator, Rosie, today. Thank you so much, girl. He has no shame, this guy. He doesn't even show any emotion at all. How do you not show emotion for your wife dying in this manner? Let's say it wasn't you. If it wasn't him, it's a tragedy all around. So many things: stabbing, shots fired, BDSM, a fetish website, cheating. Why isn't he in tears?
He said one moment.
I don't know.
One moment.
I love this judge. You know, she's the judge, was the judge also for Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. There's supposed to be a really good witness coming our way.
He just responded one moment.
And I'm thinking that might be the next witness. So it might be very interesting. You know, when you see them sitting there at their table, all defendants do this. They sit there writing and writing and writing. I'd love to look at every, Wouldn't it be cool if we did a podcast and we had like a collection of everybody's notes of all the like major defendants that have been out there, and we look down and see what's on that paper? Probably like stars and hearts and doodling, and all this time you think they're writing something super important, and I don't think they are. They're panicking.
He's on.
All right. Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. All right, just a reminder that you're still under oath, okay, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Barrero. This is John Carroll.
Hi, John.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm going to try to start where we left off on the previous testimony. I believe we were talking about your methodology.
Yes, sir.
Now, you reference in your methodology critical listening, waveform, and spectrographic analysis.
He said the wrong way.
Yes, sir.
Can you please explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what that is?
Yes, so critical listening is just a detailed, repeated auditory review of the evidence. It's using high-quality professional headphones on a forensic workstation and just reviewing the evidence in as detailed a way as possible with the ears. And that normally goes hand in hand with the waveform and spectrographic analysis, which is the visual representation on the screen of the audio that we are hearing through the ears. And the waveform is the squiggly line that everybody's familiar with. The spectrogram includes the frequency or the pitch, the individual frequencies that are present in the file, instead of just the amplitude of the sound wave in the waveform. You get the amplitude, you get the frequency or pitch also contained within the spectrogram.
And what does a spectrogram show us that our ears might miss?
So the spectrogram separates the sound into its frequency components. And so we'll see the individual frequencies that make up the sound. It's like deconstructing a symphony. You can see the individual instruments as opposed to just the sound altogether. So it really allows us to see through noise and overlapping sounds, and allows us to see audio details that otherwise you wouldn't necessarily be able to hear just with the ears. And it provides an objective measurement to use when we're analyzing an audio recording.
And sir, in your analysis, you discuss fundamental frequency and formants. What are those?
The fundamental frequency is the lowest frequency of a sound. Typically, if we're talking about a vocal sound or a musical sound, the fundamental frequency is what we would consider the pitch of that sound. It's symbolized as F0. It's the lowest formant on the spectrogram, and the formants that accompany that, they're the overtones. They're the resonant frequencies above the fundamental frequency that really gives the whatever the sound is, gives the voice or the instrument the unique sound, because those formants are created. They are a reflection of the unique shape and physical characteristics of the vocal tract or the instrument itself that created the sound. So the reason you can hear the difference between a piano playing middle C or a saxophone playing middle C, they're both playing the exact same pitch, right? Middle C is a defined pitch, but it's the overtones or in this case, we're talking about the formants that actually give that sound its unique characteristics that allow you to distinguish the difference between a saxophone and a piano, for example.
They're going to try to
And
say,
sir, you've received 2 audio files as part of your analysis, correct?
911 calls.
I did.
Okay, so there are 2 items in evidence. One is Commonwealth's Exhibit Number 1, which was the known 911 call. And we also have Defense Exhibit Number 378, otherwise titled Lily 3, Original. Have you reviewed both of
Yes, sir.
those? Now, let's just look at the 911 call first. What, if anything, do you do regarding isolating a specific sound?
So for the 911 call, there's a sound after the dispatcher answers, which is really the only sound that I was concerned with. It's a short recording to begin with, but the sound in question is about 1.4 seconds after it's a 1.4 second clip after the dispatcher answers the phone. And so I used that 1.4 second clip for the entirety of my analysis of this tape. I didn't do anything else with like when the dispatcher answered the phone or the automated voice that comes on the line prior to the dispatcher.
Okay, and was this relating, were you analyzing based upon what you just explained to us, how you got to that 1.4 second clip?
Yes. So on the spectrogram, it's visually very visible in the spectrogram, as well as audible when you listen to it, that there's this sound in that 1.4 second segment. You can see the fundamental frequency at the bottom, the F0, and some distinct formants stacked above it. So that sound was easy to isolate audibly with the ears and easily to isolate visibly in the spectrogram.
And let's move on to the exemplar recording of the dog, Lily.
I knew it.
Lily 3.
It was going to be the dog.
What did you find
Yes, sir.
regarding the fundamental frequency of that?
So there was a segment of the Lily recording that I also isolated and used for the analysis here. And the fundamental frequency for both the 911 call, that questioned sound on the 911 call, and the segment of the Lily recording, the fundamental frequencies were both in the low 200 hertz range. And then there were formants stacked above those in both recordings as well. And so I isolated each of those and put them side by side to compare not only the fundamental frequency, but also the individual formats that were stacked above that.
And what, if anything, did you do then?
So I found that in both recordings, the fundamental frequency was in the low 200 hertz range, and then I did look at the individual formants above that, and the specific the F1 and F2 formants. So the first 2 formants above the fundamental in both the Lily exemplar and in the 911 call. Those first 2 formants were the highest amplitude. And then the other formants stacked above that kind of dropped off in amplitude. And they all lined up very well in the spectrogram, meaning the individual frequencies that made up these sounds were consistent from one to the other.
And,
Get to the
and
point.
what, if anything, did you create as a result of that?
So I created I titled exemplar 911 concatenated.wave. And this was a file that I created using the isolated segments that I just talked about. So the short 1.4 second segment from the 911 call and the segment from the Lily 911, or I'm sorry, the Lily exemplar recording.
Lily's the dog.
I placed
case.
those side by side. So basically one right after the other in this exemplar concatenated recording so that it could be compared audibly as well as visually in the spectrogram and with your own ears. And so when these two sounds are played back to back like that, you can hear that when they are played back to back, it's a consistent tone. It's a consistent sound that both audibly and visually with these two samples.
And
Pet detective.
This concatenated wave exemplar of the 911 and the Lily calls is something that you created based upon Commonwealth Exhibit 1, which is moved into evidence, and Commonwealth and Defense Exhibit 378 that's been moved into evidence?
Yes, sir.
You're going to move in the concatenated wave as Exhibit 379.
Any objection?
No, ma'am.
379 in evidence?
Your Honor, may I have permission to play?
Sure, do you need assistance? Because
I'm going to try to play. I always need assistance.
well, your laptop's not connected anymore to the,
Oh,
I have IT
okay, thank you.
in the
I'm
courtroom
fine,
because.
I'm fine stepping away.
Like, yes. Your reputation precedes you, Mr. Carroll.
As a technology person or not?
We're trying to play. No comment.
So this one right here, exemplar 911.
Okay, and are you attached to the system?
I think I am.
Okay. You have a,
Come on, this is so boring. Move it.
Am I good to go? I think I still need to move. Okay.
It's just not.
Okay, it's only a short one.
Just have to move the microphone down to the laptop. There you go. Okay.
No, I have not heard of anything regarding a life insurance policy. Nothing reliable that I can tell you about. Maybe there is, but
Sir,
it's
can you
not
hear
out
that?
there.
Not really well, but I could.
Is there another way to hook into the system?
Hey, Silva Larson. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, it's so this case is so sickening. What?
Could you hear that then, sir?
Yes, I can hear it. It's not great quality, but yes, I can hear it.
Sir, when you played these two sounds back to back, the known dog sound and the question 911 sound, what did you hear?
So the audio was consistent from one recording to the next. They sounded audibly consistent with each other, and like I said, visually they were also consistent in the spectrogram.
Now, is it possible to, using all of the tools that you have, to find a moment where the pitch of one sample is consistent with the pitch of the comparison sample if you have a long enough exemplar?
So it might be possible, given a long enough recording, to find a moment where the pitch or the fundamental frequency matches simply by chance in a long recording. But that would just be one piece of the puzzle. Like I said, with the fundamental frequency, that's just the start of the sound. What really gives a sound its full character are all of the formants or the overtones, like we talked about with separating the sound of a piano with the sound of a saxophone. Those two instruments, if you have a long enough recording, their pitch is going to overlap a lot, right? They could be playing the same note at the same time, but they will never sound the same because of those overtones, because of, in this case, the formants make up the sound. So we're not just simply talking about the single pitch of the fundamental frequency happens to line up at one moment in the recording. We're talking about much more than just a single moment where the pitch matches, but all of the characteristics of the sound are also consistent. So the unique sound of this groan, we'll call it, that comes from those formants, not just the pitch. So yes, while it is technically possible that you could find a moment in any sufficiently long enough recording with sufficiently variable pitches where two pitches might match, that's really not what was done here. This is looking at the entirety of those two samples for the comparison, not just the pitches happen to cross each other at a moment.
Now, based on your forensic analysis, have you reached a conclusion regarding the unidentified groaning sound on the 911 call and the known recordings of the dog Lily?
Yes. So I can say to a high degree of forensic certainty that the apparent groaning sound on the 911 call is consistent with the dog groaning sounds found in that exemplar recording.
That does not sound like a dog.
Would your conclusion be any different if you were retained by the prosecution?
No. My conclusion would be exactly the same, because my analysis is based strictly on the objective data, the spectrograms and the audio characteristics, not on which party is actually requesting the analysis. I tell everybody that hires me, I'm not an advocate for either side. I'm an advocate for the evidence. So my testimony would be, my conclusion would be exactly the same, no matter which side retained me.
Now, I have
Thank
heard
you,
that
sir.
a husky.
Those are all the questions I have. The Commonwealth may have some questions.
I have heard that a husky can sound that way,
Yes, sir.
but it sounds like a man to me. Like, I think it was Joe Ryan that made that noise. But
Good afternoon, Mr. Barrero. Thank you so much for your time today again. Just a couple of questions for you.
Good afternoon.
Isn't it entirely possible that the sound that we hear in the background of the 911 recording could also have been a human making that noise?
It's possible, yes.
Okay. And you were given a 1 hour and 25-minute long segment of Lily, or a sample of Lily, to compare to the 1.4 seconds of 911 call. Is that correct?
sorry about that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and in the approximately 5,100 seconds of Lily groaning, you found what I think I understand to be a 6-second sample that matched. Is that correct?
No, I wouldn't characterize it like that, because much of that exemplar, there was no groaning. There was only a few tiny segments in that whole sample where there was any groaning.
Okay, and this was titled Lily 3 audio. We heard the defendant testify that there were as many as 3 different samples created. Were you given samples 1 and 2 to compare?
No, I wasn't.
All right, nothing further, Judge, thank you.
All right, redirect.
Mr. Barrero, just to be clear, the item Lily 3 was nearly an hour long, correct?
I don't remember the exact time, but yes, it was a much longer recording than the 911 call.
And it was recorded, or it was left recording in order to get
Objection
sound.
leading.
Sustained.
Is it fair to say that there were numerous sounds on there, but not a continuous?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
What did you find with regard to the Lily 3 recording?
There was a lot of relative silence, so no real sounds at all, just kind of background noise. There was some barking and whining and other sort of dog sounds, and like I said, just a few groaning sounds in the entire recording.
And when you choose your exemplar for purposes of your forensic analysis, you have specific goals in terms of making it a good comparison, correct?
Yes, so clearly it wouldn't be beneficial to take the time to compare a barking sound with a groaning sound, right? Because those are immediately obviously not consistent with each other. So I specifically was looking for a groaning sound because that's what is audible on the 911 tape.
And no one directed you to the sounds?
Objection leading.
Did anybody direct you to the sounds that you ultimately chose in order to use as a comparison?
No, sir. I was given the entire file, and I chose the segment that I used for the comparison.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, your next witness?
Your Honor, the defense rests.
Defense rests. All right. Why don't we go ahead and take our break? Let's go ahead and take our 15-minute break before we do rebuttal evidence, okay? It's a little early, but that's okay. We'll come back at 3:15, okay? Just don't discuss anything and don't do any outside research, okay?
Okay, so I do think that the rebuttal witnesses are going to be really good, so we're going to hang out here for a little bit. Let's talk amongst each other. So that's it. And you know what? That is not uncommon, people. When you are a defendant with a really crappy case like this one, sometimes they rest with no witnesses called. I was surprised that this guy even had the guts to get up and testify at all because, you know, Mr. IRS agent who clearly wants to be thought of as like law enforcement, thought that he could outsmart everybody in the courtroom today, thought that he could outsmart the jurors. It's, again, I want to go back to this problem in America with men like having these midlife crises. Men who, you know, fall for the nanny. This is not anything new, right? Do you guys remember the case, the Michelle McNeil case? This is out of Utah. It reminds me a lot of this case. So Michelle McNeil was just, I mean, gorgeous woman. I actually could do a segment at some point on Michelle McNeil. She was just turning 50. Let me tell you something. She was gorgeous, this girl, like young. And even when she got in her 50s, she was just absolutely beautiful. Mormon family, tons of kids. All right. And Mac McNeil, I think his name was her husband. Michael McNeil or Mac McNeil. I know that would sound weird, but anyway, I know her name was Michelle McNeil. He wanted her to have plastic surgery because he didn't like the fact that she was losing her youth. Okay. So he wanted to get But what he was doing is they had hired a nanny and was having an affair with the nanny. Okay. He wanted to get rid of his wife. So what he did is he made her feel like this big and said, you know what? I really want you to have a facelift. And she was so worried about not looking pretty for her husband anymore that she agreed to have this facelift done. And the thing is her husband was a doctor, and he found the plastic surgeon that happened to know him. And he said, I want to manage all her medications after this surgery. Let me handle it. And that plastic surgeon, I think, was wrong to do that. Let her husband handle all the medication that would be prescribed. He had even requested medication that the plastic surgeon would not normally prescribe for his wife. So he brings her to the plastic surgeon, and the plastic surgeon says, she's got high blood pressure. I don't know if we should go under surgery. And her husband said, nope, I'll watch her. I'm a doctor. It's okay. All of that. Well, the whole reason was he was going to use the recovery of the plastic surgery, having the facelift, so that he could drug her while she was recovering at home from this facelift and killed her so that he could be with the nanny. And you know what? It backfired on him because his own daughter, who was a doctor herself, knew something wasn't right, knew that her dad was cheating, knew that her mother, was scared of the dad. And she continued to just push for justice. And there was a big trial, and the trial is riveting. And I should just do an episode on this one case, because I think, again, it's scary, right? It's scary to get older. It's scary to have kids and not look the same way you did before. All right. And then even worse, you don't think that you're going to hire somebody to help you around the house or hire somebody to be a nanny to your kids. And then your husband's going to start sleeping with the nanny. Okay. And now that happens all the time. But then in rarer occurrences, they plot to kill the wife. And it's just a tragedy. And why? Because he wants to feel better about himself, because he wants to be with a younger woman, trade in the wife for a younger model. Why can't you just get a divorce? Well, I'll tell you why they don't want to get divorces. They don't want to get a divorce is because they don't want to have to pay her any money. They don't want alimony. They don't want to have to, share custody of the children. And Mr. Genius husband decides that he could get away with something like that. Most of the time, they don't get away with it. Why do it at all? I mean, and then on top of it, they did this with Michelle McNeil's case too. But with Christine, you go on trial and then you smear her name. Okay? I feel so terrible for her family that they have to sit and listen to this nonsense. It's like killing her all over again. Just come clean. This happened with the Shanann Watts case too, in a different way. But with Shanann Watts, the person is deceased now. People turn around and start saying that, well, Chris originally said that she was the one who killed her own children and used that as a reason. And then there's people in the media too that have bashed her and said that she asked for it. It's just not okay. Not okay. Just come clean. But, there are men out there that, they start working out. The nanny or the housekeeper looks at them and is like, gives them like goo eyes, giggling at them, laughing at their jokes, making the man feel young again. Then they start having sex with each other. And the guy is feeling on top of the world like he's 30 years old, 25, 30 years old again. And then the woman who bore children, and it's hard. It's hard to work a job, raise your children, cook, clean, and maintain yourself as best you can. It's hard to do that. And men are so quick to be like, oh, I'm just going to trade you in for somebody younger. Hey, SMR Goose 364. Thank you so much. No problem. Thank you for listening. I hear you. I hear you. But it is, a classic story. It continues to happen all across the world. And it's, these men, they get pride and vanity. It's just, really? Look at this guy. This guy is nothing to write home about. And honestly, the AuPAir, I'm a little surprised about the AuPAir too. Let me see. Let's take a look. Real quick. All right. She is adorable. I've got her picture up for the listeners. Christine is adorable. She is so cute. It's never good enough, right? Maybe she don't stroke your ego every day because she's busy. She's, running a household and a family and raising children and has a job. And because she doesn't tell you that you're wonderful every single day. This guy. Here's another picture, right? Oh, well, here. Let's look here. Oh, wait, where's that picture? Hold on. All right. Okay. There's the house in the middle, but yeah. She does not look like that anymore. Juliana does not look like that in the courtroom. She's got her boobs all smushed in this shirt with the keyhole opening in the front. The red lipstick. Did you see when she testified? She talked about, she put up posts on Instagram with her and Brendan and playing music and sharing it on Instagram. So it was out there right, for anybody to see. How many of you have pity on Juliana? Do you feel that because of her age, because she's not from this country, that she was somehow taken advantage of? Do you think that she is just as much at fault as Brendan is? Comment below. No, Juliana, when she came waddling past him in the courtroom, I was like, really? Look what you gave up. No, I know men like this. I know relatives of mine that are men that just think they're the king. You tell them you're wonderful. You're amazing. And then, they'll bypass anything else you tell them about that person because, they're all right because they said I was amazing. They said I was so successful and I'm so handsome and I'm so this and I'm so that. Who knows what was going on in that marriage? Maybe he was just a rotten husband and she wasn't tolerating any of that. I don't know, ladies. I've had people ask me, would you hire a live-in nanny? Yes, I would. I have the most incredible husband. I really do. And please don't think that, I have the wool being pulled over my eyes. Because I know what I got. I know the kind of person I have in my life. And he's amazing. And it wouldn't matter who walked in here. I could be on my worst day and somebody else would be here on their best day and he wouldn't trade me in. I know he wouldn't. And I really do believe, and this is a little tip to any woman out there that is a little unsure. I fully believe that every woman has the answer to that question if they've got that kind of man. Okay? You know what kind of guy you got. Our gut instincts are so strong. They really are. You know if you've got a bad egg and you're just making excuses for him. I've always said that. I remember, I was a singer for so long. And one of the things about the scene I was in is that I was constantly around guys because my whole band was guys. I was the only female in the band. And with that, those guys had girlfriends all the time that were coming out like groupies to see the band. And they would see this guitar player or this bass player or whatever is talking to this girl. And then they'd come over to me because I was the only female in the situation. And they'd be like, is he cheating on me? I think he's cheating on me. And I'd always say to them, you know what kind of guy you got. Okay? Just some women choose not to look, not to see it. And this isn't blaming Christine or anybody, but I'm just saying, if you have a cheater on your hands, there's a way to figure it out. And just honestly, I think you already know if your guy's the type to cheat. You already know. I cannot wait for the rebuttal witnesses. I'm excited. There I go again on my rant. I go off on my little therapy session rants. And listen, guys, if there's any guys on here right now, I'm not a man hater. There are some guys that are treated like crud by women. Okay? Women can be very conniving and manipulative. But right now we're talking about Brendan Banfield. And Brendan Banfield stooped the lowest of low. I'm talking scummy snake, sleeping with the nanny. How low can you go? And then it just gets worse from there. Instead of divorcing his wife and running off with the 21-year-old girl, he has her taken out. But then in a manner that is so degrading. Using a fetish website, making it look like your sweet wife, who you're screwing over and you're cheating on, is into the BDSM and wants to arrange to be assaulted, willingly wants to be assaulted, and hires somebody to come to her house to do this. And at worse, he's sitting here on the stand saying that she always was like this and that she was cheating all the time with this kind of stuff and that she liked violence. Do you know how crushing that is for her family to hear something like that? Let's say it was true. It's just, really? They're watching. I'm watching, guys. Do not worry. I've got the screen on over here. They have not resumed yet. Okay, yeah, so that's another thing. My heavenly husband was like that, and I was more worried about the females. Oh, yeah. There are girls out there that they are out for your husband, ladies. They are. Her mother wiped a few tears away during that. I think there's and yeah, I could see why she would. I think there's confusion about which parents are in the courtroom. Which one has the stepmother? Somebody has a stepmother in the courtroom. If you could answer me that. Yeah, these rebuttal witnesses are going to be really, really interesting. Should be not much longer now. So for my, did everybody hear my little message yesterday about the Georgia Kappelman post from Georgia Kappelman's mother? The Georgia Kappelman group that's on Facebook. Somebody had asked about when Georgia will, come after Wendy pretty much. And Georgia's mother replied. She replied. It's crazy. That should be interesting. So as soon as the Charlie appeal can get resolved, maybe. And I wanted to think that maybe it was a fake account, but no, it wasn't. Because when you go in, you can see. Okay, so Christine's parents, thank you, Tracy. Welcome to Moms for Justice. Christine's parents asked to not be on camera. Okay, we're back on. Hold on. Christine's mom is in the second row, and she's wearing the yellow shirt.
Commonwealth's rebuttal evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. It's going to be sorry. Your Honor, the Commonwealth would call Detective Stephen Augustine.
All right. Detective Augustine.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to testify truthfully in this case under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you.
Hopefully they can bring it on home with these witnesses.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Good.
Can you please state and spell your name for the court record?
Sure. Detective Stephen Augustine, that's STEPHEN AUGUSTINE.
Thank you, Detective Augustine. And can you tell us what it is you do for Fairfax County Police Department?
I've been a law enforcement officer for 24 years, the last 20 of which I've been with the Fairfax County Police Department. The last 12 years I've been a detective in the Technical Investigations Unit, Forensic Audio and Video Section.
Can you tell me about your training and education that led you to forensic audio analysis?
Sure. I possess a master's degree in audio technology as well as a master's degree in forensic science. Prior to my career here at Fairfax, I was a full-time instructor at American University in the audio technology department, teaching audio technology, electronics, and digital audio.
Have you previously testified as an expert in forensic audio analysis?
I've testified as an expert in forensic video analysis. I'm not sure if they qualified it as audio and video at the time.
All right. Is there anything about video analysis and your training for video analysis that differs or limits your ability as an audio expert?
No.
All right. Judge, at this time, I'm going to offer him as an expert in forensic audio analysis.
Any objection? Sure.
Good afternoon, Detective Augustine.
Good afternoon, Mr. Carroll.
Sir, you heard Nick Barrero testify, correct?
I did.
Okay, and in terms of some of the concepts that he was talking about, are you familiar with those?
I am.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you've worked with and are you familiar with spectrographic analysis?
Yes.
Okay, and how many times have you worked in that capacity in the audio side of things?
On the audio side of things, for the past 12 years, I've done all of the forensic audio examinations and analysis for the police department.
And does that work, is that related to, and have you used spectrographic analysis in all of them?
No.
Okay, so what are the circumstances where spectrographic analysis is utilized?
In this particular case, he used it to provide a visual representation of what the audio was, what the sound was. So you're able to visualize what the sound is.
And in your 12 years on the police force and working in this capacity, have you done that before?
Spectral analysis?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Is that a tool that's used by people that are audio forensic
Sure.
analysis?
It can be a tool, yes.
Okay. Have you used waveform as a methodology?
Yes, waveform analysis, yes. I'm familiar with spectrograph analysis as well.
Okay, but you've used waveform. For example, when you're doing what he did on a case, you're using tools. You didn't use spectrographic analysis in any previous case, but
Correct.
waveform.
Yes,
Okay, and so would that be something that you would utilize on a regular basis?
yes.
Is that something that's crucial to audio analysis?
I wouldn't say it's crucial, but I think it's common across all the forensic audio software.
Now, did you hear him discussing fundamental frequency informants?
I did,
Okay,
yes.
and did you agree with that?
I agreed with scientific principles, yes, that he presented.
Now, in your analysis over 12 years, did you use those scientific principles of fundamental frequency informants?
Yes,
Now, in this instance, did you do an independent test regarding these sounds?
I looked at him via the waveform, but I was asked by prosecution to look at his exemplary report and comment on what he had provided.
So there was no analysis done with regard to the known quantities?
There was no further analysis done aside from critical listening.
Okay. Judge, I don't have an objection to him as an expert.
All right, so we'll move him in as a forensic audio expert.
Thank you.
Okay, just confirming that he will do. Here we go.
All right. Now that you're an expert, can you tell us about your analysis of the defense work in this case?
Sure. I don't have a copy of the work in front of me, but the first few pages are just stating properties that were used in his examination and his forensic analysis, which include waveform analysis, spectrographic analysis.
And did you draw any conclusions from your review of the materials regarding the likelihood of a, let's call it, match between the Lilly 3 sample and the exemplar from the 911 call?
I did not hear him state that it was a match. He stated in his testimony that it's consistent between the two samples, which I concur, but there's also some further explanation that I think.
What is the further explanation that you think is warranted here?
Would it be possible for me to see a physical copy of the report?
The entire report?
Spectrograph is fine.
Judge, if I may approach the witness?
Is it the
You've
dog
seen this, I assume.
or is it Joe on the recording? What do you guys think? Comment. Put in your vote.
Thank you.
All right, so let's talk about this. Do you recognize that document?
I do.
Okay, what do you recognize it to be?
This is a concatenation, which is a fancy word for stitching of the two files, the exemplar and the 911 call.
All right, and specifically that type of demonstrative, what is that?
This is a spectrograph, which is what we had discussed.
All right, and that's the spectrograph that was created by Mr. Barrero, the defense expert, is that correct?
Correct.
All right, Judge, at this point in time, I would offer that as Commonwealth's. Forgive me, please, just a moment, let me get to my exhibits folder. Judge, that would be Commonwealth's 252.
252, any objection?
Yes, Your Honor.
What?
I believe this would be hearsay for him. He hasn't done any work on it. He's indicated he doesn't even use spectrograph.
Not hearsay. I'll overrule the objection.
So what observations did you make in your analysis of the defense expert's work?
Sure. If I could clarify,
Yeah, bless his heart, his voice. He obviously has some sort of a condition, maybe.
I can certainly ask some more questions if we need. Let's talk about that piece of evidence specifically. Are you aware of how it was created?
yes,
Okay, can you tell us how it was created?
sure. The gentleman uses isotope audio, which is similar to Digidesign, Pro Tools. There's numerous software companies that have the ability to edit audio files. What he did here, as I stated, is he's using a visual representation of the sound file. So, as you can see here, that show the different formats, which he also stated as overtones or harmonics that are present within the sound signals, both sound signals.
All right, Judge, at this time, I would offer Commonwealth's 252 into
All
evidence.
right. All right, overruled. All right,
All right,
252.
please continue. What were
Sure.
your observations?
So my initial observations were that in the exemplar, aside from the fact that you had mentioned that there was over 5,100 seconds of audio, there was a 6-second sample that was used from the Lily WAV file to compare to the 1.4 seconds that is shown here from the 911 call. Just to explain formants and overtones a little bit further than the other gentleman did, the fundamental frequency, which is the lowest frequency that he stated in this particular case, is 200 hertz. So what you would expect to see if you had a sound, if it wasn't coming from a signal generator or some sort of pure tone that illustrated a perfect sine wave, you're always going to have overtones. For example, in both of these, at this point, at this juncture point, they're both the fundamental tone, or F0 as he referred to it, as 200 hertz. What you would expect to find in any sound source minus a pure 200 hertz sine wave is overtones. Where those overtones occur, they occur on multiples. That's what he means when he's referring to formats. So here you have 200 hertz, your F1, your first format, 400, 600, 800. So the fact that two different audio files look similar because they're displaying the same overtones is normal for a 200 hertz sound if it's not a pure sine wave. And the other thing that I wanted to illustrate on this, can I fold this?
Please do.
Okay.
He's doing just fine.
So at the juncture point where he concatenated or stitched the two audio clips together, if I can demonstrate, if you can see this while I'm talking. This is a 7.5-second clip. The first 6 seconds for his exemplar, the dog, Lily, moaning. This portion, if you can see it, is a 1.4 seconds of where he took it from the recording. So if I do my best with holding and lining up, I think you can see here, I'm trying to keep it still. Nothing lines up until it gets to that specific point in time.
Okay, what's that mean?
Something else that I noticed that the gentleman didn't mention in his testimony, when listening to his exemplar, the concatenation of the two sound files, there was no delineation between the two files. So I looked at it on waveform analysis and zoomed in on the waveform so I could see if there was any separation between the two files. And there was no point that I could see where there was any sort of ending to the first and beginning of the last, which to me would reflect that what was likely used when concatenating the files is what's called a crossfade, an X-fade. So as the first exemplar, the Lily file, fades out in volume, the other file, the 911 call, is coming in. So it's almost a mixture of both sounds, which makes it sound like one continuous file when you listen to it, when you hear the groan tail off into the 911 groan.
So what would we have heard differently if he had not used the crossfade?
Best practices, you would have heard a full 6 seconds of the exemplar, which start at varying pitch. There's quite a bit higher than the groan that's represented in the 911 call. And you would hear the point where they separate, and you would hear the two different ones to compare to.
Thank you. I'm going to shift gears here for a second. When were you asked to first examine these sound files?
I believe I received an email from Detective Bryant on September 29th of 2025.
Okay, so approximately a year and a half, almost 2 years after the murders were committed. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So when you were presented with these clips, the 911 clip and the Lily clip, were you given any background information about the 911 clip to further your analysis?
No.
Okay. Have you ever had the opportunity to watch any of the recorded statements of Juliana Perez Magales?
No.
Okay, and did you witness her testimony here in this trial?
I did not witness her testimony. It wasn't until yesterday that I was released from viewing or discussing the case.
Okay, so when you performed your analysis of the 911 recording, specifically the hang-up, is it fair to say you didn't necessarily know what you were listening to? Absolutely. Did you know what you were listening to?
Sustained.
I knew what case it was affiliated with, yes.
Sorry, say that again for
I
me.
knew what case that it was affiliated with, yes.
Did you know if anyone was expected to speak in that recording? Did you know
No.
what to listen for?
No.
Okay, and how did you perform an analysis of that 911 hang-up call? What did you do with it?
I put it into Avid Pro Tools, which is audio software very similar to Isotope, what the other gentleman was using. And I looked at the waveform, and I did a waveform analysis and critical listening of the files.
And based on the waveform analysis and critical listening, what did you observe?
I observed, audibly, I heard the 911 telephone call and the computerized voice that's referred to at the beginning. And the operator asks, "Where is your emergency?" And upon inspection of the waveform, I saw that there were sounds present prior to the groaning sound that is heard on the 911 call.
Okay, so you're indicating in between the cessation of the 911 operator speaking and the beginning of the groaning, you heard something or you saw something.
Correct.
Okay. Did you dig into that?
I did. So what I did is I separated that portion of the audio where I thought I heard something, and essentially in Avid, it's called clip gain. And on that one portion of the 911 call, I was able to raise the volume of what was heard just prior to the groaning.
And were you able to make out a human voice?
I heard what I believe to be a human voice, yes.
And what did the human voice say?
Oh, I knew they were going to do that. I think she is going to overrule that. We will have to wait and see, but I'm dying to hear what he heard. I'm not quite sure. That's why I haven't answered anybody, because I'm listening myself and I'm trying to figure it out. At first, I thought he was saying that on the Lily and the 911, that it appeared to be one continuous set of sound waves, and that whatever you hear on one is what you're hearing on the other. I thought he was going to say that there was groaning on, that the groaning you hear on one is the same as the groaning you hear on the other. But now I'm confused because they're talking about a sound heard just before the groaning, and he's now about to tell us what he heard a person say just before the groaning. Am I getting that right? That's what I'm thinking I'm hearing here. Maybe they'll play it again for us, which would be really cool. Yeah, Brendan is, this guy's soulless. Like, he's just like, I'm totally screwed. Look at his face. He's like, I'm done. I'm done. I want to say live on here right now, I've never, like, I always come out with videos and I do like hour and a half live streams on particular cases. It's my first time really kind of hanging out and live streaming a trial. So if you were on here with me today, including my moderator, Rosie, I so appreciate you hanging out with me, because it's wouldn't be fun to do it alone. So thank you so much. I'm trying this out and I kind of like it. I don't know if I would want to do it every single day like some of these podcasters do, like do like opening statements right to close. But like the most important testimonies that are anticipated, I kind of like the idea of spending a day doing that. Thank you for having grace for me and being patient with me, because I'm not used to it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. This is kind of fun. I kind of like it. There's no sound right now because they are doing a sidebar. So hang out. It'll be right back. It was kind of fun, right, Rosie? I didn't know if you were going to make it the whole day. I was like, that's okay if she can't. But thanks for chilling out with me. This is fun. And we get to kind of like talk together. Normally I just watch these things alone and I'm like trying to figure things out. But it's cool to have you guys on. The channel is growing. It's doing great. And, people are not used to me doing this. But I'm just kind of like figuring things out as I go. It's definitely worth the wait. I'm excited. And I don't know if this is the only rebuttal witness at all. There might be another one. Yeah, STS is killing it right now. That channel squashes me, my little channel. But he's great. He's been on for years. Joel has been on for years. His wife is great. They're building their channel. It's gotten pretty big, as he says, global. But it's all good. If you're just joining us, there is no sound because you're on a sidebar. Oh, here we go. We're back.
All right, I think we do not have any further questions of you, Detective. Thank you so much. Please answer any questions that council might have for you.
Examination.
So we're not going to know what he heard before the groaning? What? Why?
Detective Augustine, what you've just shown is something from my expert's report, and it's a spectrographic analysis, isn't that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And you testified previously in the voir dire that you don't even work with spectrographic analysis, correct?
I stated that I'm familiar with spectrographic, but it's nothing that I've done prior.
But you don't use it as a tool in your analysis, correct?
It's a tool that I have available, but I haven't used it in the case.
Okay, and so in terms of best methods, is it appropriate to fold a piece of paper in order to make a comparison as best methods?
Thanks, guys.
I determined that was the best visual way to represent it that would make it understandable.
Okay, and was there any effort at making a presentation to support whatever your conclusions were today, other than folding the paper?
No, this is all I was presented with and instructed to have my comments on.
And when were you presented that?
I believe I stated September 29th is when Detective Bryan sent it to me.
So, okay, so let me understand this.
Sure.
So you were just given one picture and asked to make an analysis?
I was given a complete report from the gentleman's forensic analysis, and I reviewed the entire report.
Gotcha. And did you prepare a report?
I did not.
Were you asked not to?
I was not asked to prepare a report. I was asked to comment on his findings.
Would it be best practices in the world that you're in to have prepared a report to something?
I'm going to object. It's argumentative and irrelevant.
Overruled, good.
Speaking about best practices, would
Yes,
it have
sir.
been best practices to create a report with whatever findings that you wanted to tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
If I was instructed to do my own analysis, a separate report from this, I would say yes. But as reviewing this as a rebuttal witness, I didn't believe it to be necessary.
That's why they didn't let it in.
You work for the Fairfax County Police Department.
Correct, sir.
So they could have asked you to do an analysis on your own.
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustained at this point.
You have the capacity to do a full analysis if you were asked, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you recall who got you involved?
Objection, relevance.
I'll sustain the objection.
Was it Detective Bryant?
Objection.
Sustain the objection. I'll sustain the objection.
So because he didn't do the full analysis, they didn't let it in because it wasn't thorough enough?
I don't have any further questions,
All
Judge.
right, redirect.
Nothing, Judge. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Thank you, Ms.
You're free to go, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your next witness,
Patrick Smith.
Patrick Smith.
Rosie, hold the fort, girl.
Sure.
Okay, this might be the surprise witness. We shall see. He's like, uh-oh, uh-oh.
Want to come forward, sir?
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to testify truthfully in this case under penalty of law?
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good. Good afternoon.
Can you please state and spell your name for the court reporter?
Thomas Patrick Smith, ThomasPatrick,
Thank you. You can pull the mic just a little bit closer to you. Thank
He
you.
should be worried.
Do you know Mr. Banfield?
I do.
Okay, and in what capacity?
I'm a special agent with IRS Criminal Investigation, and Mr. Banfield was previously employed with IRS Criminal Investigation at my office in Vienna, Virginia.
Directing your attention to February 23rd and 24th of 2024, in that time period, was he your direct supervisee?
2023?
I'm sorry, 2023.
Yes, on February 24th, 2023, I was the acting supervisory special agent for the Vienna group.
All right, and so did Mr. Banfield report to you?
He did at that time, yes.
All right. Was there anyone else that he reported to during that period of time?
Julia Jones was the permanent supervisory special agent, but she was out of the country, and IRS practice is that someone is designated to be the acting supervisor when the supervisor is unavailable. So in that particular time, I believe I was the acting supervisory special agent from February 15th through February 24th. Juliet returned on Monday, February 27th.
All right. To your knowledge, was there a meeting scheduled between yourself or with Juliet and Mr. Banfield on the morning of February 24th, 2023?
Leading,
Sure.
sustain the objection.
Did you have any plans for the morning of February 24th, 2023?
I did. I was in Baltimore on an unrelated undercover operation on that morning.
Were you scheduled to meet with Mr. Banfield?
I was not.
And again, I'm sorry, where was Juliet, his other supervisor?
She was out of the country.
Oh, my goodness.
Mr. Banfield testified that he was meeting with his manager. Is there another person that could have been?
As you go up the management chain, we have an assistant special agent in charge. His name is David Meisenheimer, and we have a special agent in charge, Kareem Carter, and they were both in, I believe, Georgia at the time, because.
And Georgia, the state, not Virginia.
Correct.
Okay. Within your industry, is it commonplace to appear for career? Sure thing.
All right, sustain.
How does one dress in the IRS when they are approaching a business meeting that is imperative for their success and potential promotion?
Well, we could say that when I have important meetings, I dress in nice slacks and a shirt.
Would jeans or tennis shoes be acceptable?
I have never worn jeans or tennis or sneakers or tennis shoes for important meetings.
You have to put your microphone on, Mr. Carroll. What's your objection?
Objection to the relevance of this. He's indicating what he does.
Overruled.
All right, thank you. Did you speak with Mr. Banfield on the morning of February 24th, 2023?
I did not.
Okay.
He lied.
Were you surprised that he wasn't there at 8 o'clock?
Again, I was in Baltimore, so I wasn't there, but I was surprised when I received a phone call indicating that Mr. Banfield had discharged his weapon and there were 2 deceased persons, which, as you would imagine, that triggered many responsibilities as the acting supervisory special agent too.
Understood. Just as a law enforcement professional trained by the IRS, do you share your gun safe code with your family members?
Objection, Your Honor, it's not relevant.
Yeah.
in this meeting.
Sustain the objection.
I knew
All
that.
right, thank you. Nothing further. Please answer any questions council might have for you.
Cross-examination.
Thank you.
That was a bombshell. Gotta say. Let's see what they do with this. Nothing, probably.
I'm sorry, sir. Tell me your name again.
Special Agent T. Patrick Smith.
Okay. And you were, as I understand it, you were the special agent in charge while Juliet Jones was gone out of the country?
No, I was the acting supervisory special agent.
Okay, and so that was something that she put you in charge of, or someone higher than that?
I believe she was able to designate, but you'd have to check for sure. But I'm sure she had upper management approval for who she designated as the acting supervisory special agent.
Okay, so so you said something like what happened where he discharged his firearm and there were 2 people dead. That caused a lot of work for you?
When I was informed by the Fairfax County detective as the acting supervisory special agent that one of the agents in the group had discharged his weapon and there were 2 deceased persons, then yes, we had to contact upper management, which I did. We had to process the Treasury Inspector for Tax Administration, which we call TIGTA, is essentially our internal affairs. They have to be notified. They do an investigation to determine if the discharge of the weapon was appropriate.
Okay, I guess my question was it extra work for you?
Was it extra work for me?
Yeah, isn't that what you just said to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that when this situation arises, it becomes a great deal of work for the person who's the acting special agent in charge?
Well, yes, I had to make several phone calls. I had many conversations with people that I would not have had if there hadn't been.
Okay. Now, did the Fairfax County Police know that you were the acting special agent in charge?
I can't really speak what the Fairfax County Police knew, but I did speak with a detective from Fairfax County Police.
Who was the detective you spoke to?
I don't recall the detective's name.
Did you ask him his name?
I knew it at the time. As we speak now, I don't recall.
So there was no report that to the people that you called and people that you told about this?
Objection calls for speculation.
Overruled, if you can answer it.
There was no report that you created to talk about this situation, which made a lot of work for you, where you would put in the detective's name?
I definitely provided that information to upper management, and if I could access my emails, I'm sure that's in there.
So in your capacity, did you stay within the Vienna office after that when Juliet Jones came back?
Did I stay?
Yeah, were you still in the Vienna office when
I currently am still in the Vienna office.
Okay, so from that time until now, you're still in the Vienna office?
Yes, that's my permanent post of duty. I was there before that day as well.
Now,
He didn't
there were
lose his
6
job.
people that were interviewed relating to TIGTA interviews. Actually, I'm sorry, there were 8 people that were interviewed. Do you know the name David Meisenheimer?
Yes, he was the assistant special agent in charge.
Were you aware that he was interviewed by Detective Vesser of Fairfax County?
I don't
Okay.
necessarily know, but
Do you know Lawrence Flagg?
I do. He's another agent who was assigned to the Vienna POD on that time.
Okay, and were you aware that he was interviewed as well by Detective Vesser?
I believe he told me he was interviewed. I don't know if he disclosed the name of the detective.
Now, do you have team assignments in terms of the IRS?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Is there someone named Carrillo that has a team in the Vienna office?
Carrillo?
Yes.
I don't recognize the name. Can you spell it? Maybe it's the pronunciation.
Carrillo?
I don't recognize that name.
Okay. Would it surprise you that Juliet Jones, who actually wasn't even there on that day, was interviewed by the Fairfax County Police Detective Vesser?
It would not surprise me that Julie Jones was interviewed. She was the supervisory special agent.
Now, Detective Carter from the Fairfax County Police, did you have contact with him?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, there were interviews conducted by him to Bernarda Jackson, special agent?
Objection. Counsel's testifying. He needs to ask a question.
Overruled, go ahead.
Bernarda Jackson is another agent in the group, yes.
Okay, and did you know that she was interviewed relating to my client's case?
I Can't recall if she told me that or not.
Okay. How about Richard Daniels, who was a special agent?
Yes, he's another.
You know that Detective Carter had interviewed him about my client's case?
I think Special Agent Daniels did mention that, yes.
Okay. And Philip Hammond, do you know that person?
Yes, I know Special Agent Hammond.
And did you know that he was interviewed by Fairfax County Police Detective Carter relating to my client's case?
I believe he also told me he'd been interviewed, yes.
Okay, so you knew about that?
Yes.
Okay, and so when you heard all these other people were being interviewed, did you ever say, well, hold on, I was the special agent in charge for a period of February 13th
He's
to
like, oh,
February
crap.
24th?
February 15th.
February 15th to February 24th. You didn't raise your hand and say, what about me?
I did.
And so they chose not to interview you?
I'm not exactly sure what happened, but
Okay.
I was out of town the week that the interviews took place in our office.
Oh, so you're aware of these interviews. What week did that occur?
I'd have to look at my calendar. My best guess, things like you have it, is March 2024.
Okay. How about Detective Lynch from Fairfax County interviewing Justin Williams, a special agent?
Justin Williams is another agent in the group.
Did you know he was interviewed?
I think he told me he was.
Okay. And these would have been, other than Juliet Jones, these would have been people who were subordinate to you, correct?
At the time I was acting supervisor special agent, technically, yes. I mean, I view them as coworkers who are all special agents.
Okay. So you're all on the same line unless you get dubbed the acting special agent.
Correct.
Okay. And finally, Kevin Farley, do you know him?
I do. He's another agent in the group.
Okay, and the interviews that were conducted were relating to relationships of Brendan Banfield. Did you hear about that?
I did not.
Marriage problems with Brendan Banfield. Did you hear about that?
I did not.
Rumors that were going around in the IRS. Did you hear about that?
What rumors?
In the context of these interviews, they were being asked if there were rumors.
I have no recollection of being told of that, no.
He's grasping at straws here.
They were talked to, the individuals were all spoken to about schedules that occurred in the Vienna office. Did you know about that?
An interview that I was not present at, I don't know what was discussed.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I mean, you were the special agent in charge.
I was not when these interviews
Objection,
occurred.
argumentative.
Sustained, next question.
Okay. Now, there was discussions in these interviews about the types of cases that everybody worked.
Objection, speculation.
Sustained, next question.
Do you know what these interviews were about?
I do not know what occurred in an interview I was not present at.
Okay. So you were there and for 2 weeks in that capacity, correct? 15th to the 24th.
Again, I was acting supervisor special agent for the Group 1 of the Washington, D.C. field office from February 15th, 2023 to February 24th, 2023.
Okay. And in that, you're coming in here to this courtroom in that capacity to tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury that, I guess, there are issues with, that you would dress a certain way, is that right? When you're going to the office?
Are you asking me how I dress when I go to the office?
Well, no, you've already testified to that, but you're here testifying, and one of the things that you've said is that you dress in a different way than what was described of my client when he was going to the office on February 24th.
That is correct.
Okay, and you indicated you were in an undercover operation, correct?
I was assisting with an unrelated undercover operation in
Okay.
Baltimore, Maryland.
And undercover operations have its own command staff outside of the Vienna office, isn't that right?
I don't know that I would characterize it like that.
Okay. Are there undercover command staff that handle undercover operations that aren't in the people that I just listed off to you that were interviewed?
I'm unclear in your terminology, but yes, there are people who, we have a whole special investigative techniques group that's involved with undercover operations.
And they would be the people that if you have an undercover operation and you're talking to an undercover person, that you would be working with them, correct?
Not really, no.
Okay. In your undercover operations, when you're interviewing a undercover operative, do you invite them into the office to talk?
I don't interview undercover agents. I'm confused. I'm the lead tech agent for the Washington DC field office. So the traditional undercover operation where they get wired up and they have equipment and they're covertly recorded, that is my job. So I'm involved with that and then preserving for the chain of custody the evidence that's obtained during that meeting.
What about undercover operations that deal with other issues, relating to IRS criminal investigations?
Judge, objection is to form. I don't think the question
All right,
makes
I'll
any
sustain
sense.
if you'll rephrase.
He's
What about
trying.
undercover operations that would deal with specific areas of criminal fraud? How are they handled?
I've only been involved with undercover operations conducted by IRS criminal investigation,
Okay.
and they've virtually all involved fraud, so.
And so the undercover operations that other people do, are they different than what you're within the IRS? Are they
Judge,
different?
objection is to relevance. I'm not sure where we're going with this at this point.
I'm just trying to get to the background, get to his background, Judge.
I'm going to sustain the objection. Next question.
Move on.
Now, sir,
Yeah.
would you have known where Lawrence Flagg was on the 24th of February, 2023?
I do because he told me.
Okay, were you keeping track of him otherwise?
Yes, we were in regular contact throughout that day.
Okay, and that was because of the incident that occurred at the Banfield house, correct?
Correct.
Prior to the incident happening, would you have been in contact with Lawrence Flagg on a regular basis?
Can you define regular basis?
Well, you tell me, how often do you have contact with him?
He's an agent in the group. As a regular agent in the group, I would see him probably whenever we were both in the office. As a supervisor, I would have contact with him as needed.
And so how many times did you have contact with him as a supervisor during that week?
I cannot recall the days before February 24th, 2023, but on February 24th, 2023, I had many phone conversations with Lawrence Flagg.
Okay, I don't have any further questions.
All right, redirect.
This is kind of pointless.
Okay, just for clarification, was Lawrence Flagg Mr. Banfield's supervisor?
No.
Okay, and Mr. Banfield testified that he had a scheduled meeting with his manager. That would have been yourself or Juliet Jones, is that correct?
Those are the only two people I can look that have been his manager, yes.
Okay, and she was out of the country, and you were in Baltimore and not planning on meeting him, correct?
Correct.
Okay, nothing else. Thank you, Judge.
All right, sir, you're free to go.
Judge, may I ask one more question?
No, sir. You're done. All right, you're free to go, sir.
No, sir. You're done.
All right,
Did you hear that?
you're next witness.
Commonwealth Breast.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commonwealth has arrested the rebuttal evidence. So in other words, you have heard all the evidence you're going to hear in this case. So what I'm going to do, we have some housekeeping matters to take care of. So what I'm going to do is release you early today. And what we'll do is when we come back at 10 a.m. tomorrow, you will hear closing arguments and then the case will be handed over to you, okay? All right, so have a good night. Do not discuss the case. Do not do any outside research, please. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I would say that he is complete toast, this guy, based on what I've heard. Any comments you want to give, last minute notes you happen to, maybe something that I didn't see or, because I think Mr. Banfield is going to prison for the rest of his life. I think we will have if I was a juror, it would be guilty all the way. Done. I think the jury is actually going to be offended by the smearing of his wife, Christine. I don't think they bought any of his crap. I don't think they bought his story. I think as much as a lot of people do not like Juliana, that she was believable. What do you guys think? I know that it's been a long day. A long day for Monster Justice because I'm not used to being on here this long. But I did enjoy this, and I look forward to doing longer streams of certain trials, particularly certain witnesses that are very highly anticipated. So this was a lot of fun. But yeah, he is such a slime. He's bad news. And I also, any predictions for, obviously they're going to yada yada go through all the jury instructions, closing arguments and all that. Do you think that this will take how long to deliberate? I'm going to say no more. Here's my prediction now. And that could change after the closing because the closing does matter. It's not evidence, but the closing matters. The deliberation, I personally think my prediction will be like 2 hours. I think it's going to be so short. So we will see. Definitely. But anyway, thanks so much, guys, for joining me today. You guys are awesome. Make sure to subscribe, like, share, and I will see you next time. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.